In this video, we're going to be covering a basic resin eye with a bit of a Halloween spin, all the things you'll need to create your eyes. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section below, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so we're going to make some different resin eyes today. I'll get started with some of the materials I use. First thing you need is an eye mold. Now I've got all these ones from different places. I'll look them up again and find where I bought them and link them in the description. This one has like a little spot where you can put a bead in for the pupil, which I have never tried, so I'm going to try that today. I think that'll be pretty neat. And then there's these. I believe I got these off Etsy. I'll look them up again. And these ones I definitely got off Etsy. I've got two different sizes, and these are really awesome. These are one of my favorites. They're really, really easy to unmold. They're a great mold. And then I've got these ones. I bought these off Amazon, and they're a reasonably priced mold. And they come in all these different sizes. They're very useful, and they were quite reasonably priced. I use these a lot as well. And I've got these ones too, but these don't have a pupil, but you can make like a cabochon type eye with these. And I bought two of them, so I didn't have to keep coming back to the mold, so I could actually make ones that were the same at the same time. These you can buy pretty reasonably almost anywhere. Amazon, Etsy, I think they even sell them on Wish. And now I can't stress this enough, is wear gloves when you work with resin. It's not good for you. And people don't wear gloves, and they're also, a lot of people are allergic to it. You should also work in a very, very well ventilated area and wear a mask while you're using this. It's not good stuff for you. It's best just to wear your proper gear, and then you have way less of a chance of getting ill from it. Now the resin I'm using today it's a two-part resin. It's Craft Smart, the one I'm using today, which I bought at Michael's. You can buy pretty much any kind of resin as long as it's clear. It really doesn't matter what resin you use. And I've got these mixing cups, which I've got off Amazon, and these are very, very useful. I recommend buying these. They come in big packs. Buy a bunch of them, and then they're just easier to use. You don't have to try to get them clean, and they're easy to measure, and they're nice and small. So you can't really go wrong with these. And what I'm going to do is just pour. I'm going to do 15 ml of each part of resin. That really doesn't leave me a lot of space to mix, but that's okay. Now when you mix this, you have to make sure it's mixed very, very, very thoroughly. So I use a toothpick to do my mixing. You can use a popsicle stick or any kind of stick. Something disposable is a lot easier. Now I'm just going to pause this because I don't think you need to watch me stir this for 5 minutes, but you should stir it for about 5 minutes, or for whatever the directions are on your resin. Okay, once you're done getting that mixed, and you know it's mixed when it doesn't have any streaks in it anymore. Once it doesn't look streaky, it looks clear. Like this has got a lot of bubbles in it, so after stirring it, you want to try to keep the bubbles to a minimum as well. So I'm going to pour about half of this into another container here, because we're going to dye this. So I want to make, I'm just going to make plain eyes. So we're going to start with white. Now I bought these at I bought these from Amazon. I'll link them below. Very happy with these. I've bought other ones and I haven't been very happy with them, but these have actually worked quite well. And there's a white in here, so you want white. Give it a little shake if it's been sitting. This is brand new, so I'm just going to cut the end off of it. Okay, we're going to put a few drops of white in there. Let's stir it up. See what that looks like. We might need more, but we'll check and see after we put that in there. It's a little too clear for me, so I'm going to put about 3 more drops in. Try that. I'm going to do a couple more drops. You want to stir it really, really well, or you'll get streaks in your eyes. Unless you want streaks in your eyes, which could be a look as well. Okay, now we're going to pour. Always try to get as many of the bubbles as I can out of it. Like you can see them coming to the top. Something you should have on hand as well is like a barbecue lighter. One of these. I got this from Walmart. I got this one because I think it's refillable. And I just be careful with this. And I just give it a little whirl on the top just to pop the bubbles. Okay, now we're going to do some pouring. I'm going to start with this one because I put the pupils in there and we'll see what these turn out like. I've tried these with regular, or with, with colored resin without a pupil, and they're neat, but I really want to see what they'll look like with a pupil. And while you're doing this, you also want to make sure you don't get any bubbles in the crevices of the eye. Like I'll show you what happens if you get a bubble in there. Here's what I did. And see, you can still use it, but I find that it wrecks it. And it's just, I never use the ones that have a bubble in them. Once in a while I'll make like a fantasy eye with them or something, but they're just kind of a disappointment when they have a bubble in them. So just push a toothpick or a stick or whatever you've got down in there and just try to get those bubbles out of the mold. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see here. I want to make sure those pupils aren't floating. They look like they want to float. I think we're okay. You can kind of pop some of these bubbles with your toothpick sometimes as well. I don't have the greatest luck doing that. I usually use my lighter. This resin does not cure under a UV light. You can use UV resin for this, and it does go a lot faster. I don't like the smell of the UV resin. It's very, very, very smelly from what I've found. If someone wants to recommend a brand that doesn't stink, please do. But I find it to be quite smelly, and I find it a little hard on the just everything. It usually gives me a headache, even if I use it somewhere well ventilated. I will still use it for the iris quite often just because I want it done now. But even then, it's just so smelly. And one of the reasons I'm making my own eyes is I can't find what I want that anybody makes. And I think it just gives your creations your own custom look. Because even if you try to recreate even an eye that you've made before, they usually turn out so different. And I typically make one-of-a-kind things, so I want the eyes to be one-of-a-kind as well. Giving those a little touch to make sure they're seated in there. Make sure they look about even, and then we're going to pop those bubbles with the lighter. I'm just going to wipe give my fingers a little wipe with the gloves. Me and this lighter, we're not friends, so. Usually I will let these sit for a while, and then I'll come back and pop the bubbles again, just because more bubbles will come up. There's some other tricks to getting bubbles out, which I haven't tried. I've been told put it on a heating pad. I have not tried that myself. I will probably give that a try one of these days and see if it does help. You can also get a chamber to get the bubbles out, but right now I'm just not willing to spend that kind of money to buy a chamber just to get bubbles out of some eyes that I make, because right now that's all I'm making with the resin. If you're making a bunch of stuff with resin and you need a chamber, you can definitely get set up with one of those. Just giving these one more once around here and hope that I don't have any bubbles. Because my last ones I did had way too many bubbles in them. And I really thought I had done a good job popping them, but you sometimes just get bubbles. Okay. I'm going to set these to the side to cure. Try to keep them somewhere where no one's going to be touching them. Okay, we're going to do another set. It's the same thing again. We're going to pour some more of our already mixed resin up. And we're going to mix white in again, because we're doing a whole bunch of white eyes. So since we've already done this step before, I'm just going to pass through this and come back. Okay, we've got that mixed up. I'm going to start with this mold next. And again, we got a lot of bubbles going again, so I'm going to use that lighter real quick. I definitely need to invest in a lighter that I can grab easier. I need my toothpick again. And you probably hear my cat. It's actually not my cat. It's the neighbor's cat who likes to come over every time I'm over here. Every time I come here to work, he comes over, I think because it's quiet in here. And I believe they have a bunch of children, so he likes to come over and have a nap while I'm working. I'm making a bit of a mess there, but that's all right. We'll clean it up. So again, you want to run your toothpick through there. Well, we can use a little more, so we're just gonna tap that over. Since I filled that one a little too full. It's just easier to try to remove it with your toothpick or your stick than it is trying to wipe it out. I learned this the hard way. If you're trying to wipe one of these molds, you will usually make more of a mess. But maybe I'm just uncoordinated with it. These little guys don't take a lot of resin. Okay, pop the bubbles. Me and the lighter. There we go. Yes, I think I'm going to be going and getting a new lighter this week. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm going to put these to the side and let them cure. Now I've got these molds as well. Maybe I'll quickly do these and I'll do a couple of these. It's pretty much the same for all the bases. You just pour it in, make sure you don't have any, make sure your molds are clean also. Like I've just looked in this one, it's got a little something in there. It's a little piece of resin from something I molded before. I really like this mold. This is one of my favorites. Lady on Etsy makes these and they're fantastic. She makes other molds too and they're just great. I think I'm going to do that one and I'll do this one too. And I'll flame those in a minute. And I think I have enough resin to do probably this one here. I like these molds as well. They were very reasonable on Amazon. So one nice thing about getting these is that they were reasonable and they're pretty much readily available quickly. Whereas some of the other molds do take a little longer to get because a lot of them are coming from overseas. I'm in Canada, so everything takes forever to get here. Okay, and we're going to let these cure. It takes 24 hours for them to cure to like a soft cure where you can continue on with them, and about 72 hours for them to cure so they're actually hard. And we'll come back and finish these tomorrow.